duplicating something from Derry. Here's a look at a knockoff Pennywise statue. Unfortunately, at the beginning of this review, I had to leave a read-up off, simply just because I don't know who originally made this knockoff that we're having a look at in this review. I can tell you that, yes, I have wandered down the rabbit hole again of Alexi Express, picked up some more knockoff bootleg statues and figures. So if you guys have been enjoying these knockoff reviews, more will definitely be coming your way. Unfortunately, again, I don't know who made this, so if anybody has any ideas and can direct me to that necessary 411, it would be greatly appreciated. I thought it may have been Diamond Select, but it does have swappable arms. I thought it also may have been Kotobukiya, but there's nothing really marked anywhere on the statue to tell me who originally made it. So again, any information that you guys can provide would be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to measure off to the very top of this knockoff Pennywise statue, whoever actually made it. Let's stop it right there. According to the readouts, bootleg knockoff Pennywise, I always feel like throwing extra things in there, stands 8.2 inches in height. You can switch that to centimeters, revealing that the statue is 20.9 centimeters tall. But like I said, I was over on Alexi Express. It seems to be my nightly obsession just to kind of go on there before I go to bed. Probably the bad time to start shopping for things. I start typing things on Alexi Express, seeing what they all had available. And I think one such search landed me with this rather intriguing looking Pennywise, which up to the point of this review, again, I have no idea who originally made this. It does come included with some swappable arms as well as a swappable head, and it comes included with a balloon as well. Before, I suppose, maybe we get down to the swappable things about it, let's pick up the statue and have a closer look at the display base. Now, normally in the case before, we could easily just spin this around and find something marked or branded onto the base or on the figure itself. I don't see anything on here that actually tells me who originally made this statue. Even if you flip it upside down, maybe some other place where you would normally be able to see a manufacturer's name or something like that impressed onto the plastic. Sadly, there's nothing. There is nothing there whatsoever. You can see there's a little bit of a broken stairwell here with a little railing on the side, all nicely painted here to kind of mimic wood. It also looks like a little bit of like a ground terrain, a few little sprigs of grass and other weeds that would be growing around this neglected property. And then you've also got Pennywise, of course, his foot attached. Not well, mind you. The peg, as you can see, barely sits in there. A lot of times, moving the statue around, this seems to free it. So I guess you could probably remove it on both sides. But that, we just looked at the Bishojo knockoff Chucky. I've already had a peg break on that. So it's not the strongest of plastics. Like I said, it doesn't really stay well in place there. It's a little floating peg. But we move a little bit further up. Of course, we've got Pennywise. You know, all things considered, it's not a bad-looking Pennywise. Again, I really have no idea who makes this. It is one of his two swappable head options. This, I suppose, is more just the smiling, come on in. Come stop for a bite to eat. Oh, right, you're the one who's anxious for something to eat. But you can see it's a really decent-looking head sculpt. Paint's not terrible. It doesn't really give off that vibe that it looks like a knockoff statue. In fact, actually, if I saw this in a comic book store, again, I would be just as intrigued as I was seeing this on Alexi Express. And I do, again, want to stress this. A couple have asked why I'm looking at these knockoff statues and collectibles when you want to get the legitimate thing. Absolutely, I would. But the whole point of me actually picking these up is to really show you guys, if you happen to stumble onto the same page that I stumbled on when I first saw this Pennywise, you may be thinking to yourself, hey, that's not a bad looking statue. I wonder what it looks like in hand. Ah, that's the reasoning why I want to do these reviews, to show you guys what these actually look like. Once they leave, wherever they leave, and they end up to your doorstep, are they worth the money or they are a waste of money? I would say so far, looking at Pennywise, it was worth the value of what I spent on this. I think the statue was about $20 to $30. Not that bad at all. But I do like the detailing done to his head. He does have a couple of swappable options, like I said, for his arms and his head. One of which we can certainly see right now. He's got two straight arms. This arm isn't removable. So even though it does technically look like it's got a little seam line that you can remove, he only technically removes this hand right here. Don't try ripping that off. It's going to break. But this unpegs. Just remove the side like that. You can see on the side it says R1. Just remove that arm completely. Then we can go ahead and swap it out for this arm, for example. Just plug that into place. You can clearly see what it's supposed to be holding. It's supposed to be holding a balloon. One already problem that I have with this figure is the QC level when it comes to the string that they used for the balloon. I've already had it break off. I've actually had it break off twice now. It fits into the hole, a little bit shorter, I'm sure, than it was supposed to be. But every single time I've moved this, well, 2 times I've moved this, it's an extremely brittle plastic. Perhaps one of the sacrifices that the statue may have made from its original release. It is awfully cheap plastic, so just be careful of this strand, because you definitely don't want to break this. Literally, like if I just tap this, I'm sure that would just shatter again. But anyways, he does have the means to hold the balloon. It's a little kind of close to his head a little bit, unfortunately. But it does look pretty good. I like that. Looks nice. Looks sharp. Just slightly breakable. Pulling this out of his hand, you can see there's the balloon right there. It's basically just a regular balloon. Like any other of the Pennywise figures and statues we've looked at, the balloon pretty much stays the same. I will say one thing I do like is that the string, as cheap of a plastic as it actually is just attached to the bottom. It's not one of those where it's attached to the side, where we've seen before. The big noticeable seam line on the side, but I suppose unavoidable. It is kind of painted with a slight little bit of metallic red. But there's one of the options that you can display him with. You can also pop this off, remove it to the side, and he also comes included with this arm. Again, no idea who actually makes this. And you can see right there, there's the arm of Georgie. What's left of Georgie, at least. That's a really fun, swappable arm to give Pennywise. And don't worry, it gets even scarier after this. The blood isn't the greatest, mind you. It kind of looks and resembles a little bit like raspberry jelly. It's all over his fingers. You can see it clearly is at the top, the stump of the remaining arm. But it's not the greatest of reds. I wish it kind of was closer to like the red that they used for his face. Unfortunately, like I said, it's just this very neon pink. So I would probably go in, you know what, I might actually just do that. I might go in there and just touch that up with a little bit of red paint, just so it looks a little bit better. It's kind of like the one glaring issue I have with the statue. Of course, the brittle string on the balloon, but really this red just doesn't work for me. But the other thing he does come included with is this head sculpt right here. Now that's terrifying, isn't it? Somehow the red is a lot better on this head sculpt than it is on the hand and the arm. You would think that the same people responsible for painting one would be the same team responsible for painting the other. But clearly, this team understands what red blood should look like. This team apparently was just eating a peanut butter and jam sandwich. But you can see there's the 2 swappable heads. Very, very different from one another. Just before we actually swap that head, I want to show you guys what it looks like all the way around. Yeah, there's really no telltale signs on this to tell me that this is a knockoff statue. I mean, for all intents and purposes, and really the whole point of me actually doing these videos in the first place is to pinpoint and show you guys the pros and the cons of going the route of a bootleg statue or figure. Sometimes you'll benefit from getting a statue or figure that looks really not that much different than the original release, and other times, some of them, yeah, the cheap quality of the paint and the molding. But I don't get that at all with this particular Pennywise. Unfortunately, like I said, he just doesn't stand properly in his display base. I guess that could be one of the other strikes I can make against the statue. But let's go ahead and swap out his head. We're just going to go ahead and remove it. There we go. I don't know why they took so long as it did. You can remove the head like that, and then we can go ahead and swap it out with this head sculpt right here. Now we're talking. While I don't necessarily want to promote the idea of buying yourself a knockoff of a statue, the idea of maybe spending the $20 or so to get yourself 2 of these, you could potentially display Pennywise in the 2 different looks. Again, bring in the other head sculpt so you guys can see. Both of them are quite good. Nothing really lacks here in the paint applications. You got the cracked heads again, both added with a little bit of additional wash of dark color. Superior looking head sculpts. We'll spin the head around, I should say. Show you guys what the back of the hair looks like. Kind of looks like a ball of string. But it's got some really nice looking colors. The lighter brown with additional kind of rusted red that have been added to the surface of it. Really just, again, doesn't really give me that vibe when I'm looking at this like it's a knockoff statue. Of course, the rest of the detailing on his body is consistent with the movies. That off-colored gray clown suit that he wears with little pom-poms there on the fronts, the belts, and of course the little straps of red added to the side, generally are painted pretty good. Bit of a rush job, perhaps I could say, to the hands. There's like a little bit of an off-coloring to it. I don't know if that's just intended or just the fact that maybe they didn't finish the paint. It kind of looks really dirty, actually, when I'm looking at it here. The rest of his body doesn't really get much in the way of paint. I would imagine this is probably all plastic. I don't think that they probably started going in there and painting everything on top of it. But if it's just the molding of the plastic on it is pretty good. The shoes, admittingly, I'm not quite liking the red that they decided to go with. And again, this one problematic foot just doesn't want to stay properly in the actual display base. But as a whole, that's not a bad looking Pennywise. I kind of feel bad that I didn't know more about this. I've been, truthfully, honestly, before I started hitting the record on this, I like to really provide you guys as much 411 on these pieces as I possibly can. And yet, searching online, I'm drawing an absolute blank with any bit of results telling me what this statue originally was part of, who originally made it, when it was originally released. All I can tell you is it's a knockoff statue that I found myself finding on AliExpress. Even here in final looks, looking at the back of the packaging, I can't decipher any bit of mention of who originally made this statue. Unless it is written in a different language, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I can't tell who made it. If anyone is able to translate that and maybe add some necessary 411 that I clearly missed out in this review, it would be greatly appreciated. Even in the bottom of the packaging, the read-up only says the packaging is only used to protect the product and will not be returned. The final product may be slightly different from the prototype of the picture. The product may need to be assembled. Please save the official invoice after sales service. After the officially authorized product, the after-sales service is effective. Please keep this packaging for future reference. That's all it says. The whole real reasoning why I do these reviews in the first place is to hopefully be the sounding board, because I know many of us have all stumbled onto postings like this, either if you've been on eBay late at night or you've been on AliExpress late at night like I have. You may have stumbled onto similar listings like this and thought to yourself, hey, that's not a bad looking Pennywise. If it looks anything as good as the photo, maybe I should pick this one up for the $20 to $30 and I can get myself a nice looking statue. You get it home and it doesn't look anything like the photos. Well, I wanted to take that experiment to the next level and pick up some of these knockoffs to see how good they actually are. And in the case here of the It Pennywise statue, even though I have no idea who originally made it, I can tell you it's a pretty good looking statue. Hopefully I've shown you in this review. Decently two different interesting looking and unique looking head sculpts that you can have the Pennywise displayed in two different ways. Yeah, the only thing I would really say is a stumbling point to this Pennywise, other than for the fact it's a knockoff, is that the coloring that they used for his hands really doesn't look great for red. The rest of his face, smeared that crimson across his face, does look pretty good. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication between the two paint departments. The balloon is a little on a snappy side, so of course be a little bit careful if you're feeding the string into his fingers. That balloon string has broken, I think, 3 times now that I'm actually thinking about it. I think it broke 3 different times, me trying to fit that into his fingers, so you will want to be careful of that. The rest of the statue looks really good. I just wish I actually knew who originally made this statue in the first place. So if anybody can add a little bit of insight, it would be so greatly appreciated from this humbled reviewer. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of this KO It Pennywise statue. And being for the fact that the price was pretty good on this, I may consider getting myself a second one of these, just simply so I can display the Pennywise in the 2 different looks that he comes included with. But let me know down below what you guys think of the knockoff Pennywise. Certainly if you are new to this channel, liking all the content, and maybe you're digging the fact that we're doing all these bootleg knockoff reviews as of late, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on, and yeah, by all means, come back to this channel the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when we do new videos at 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Periodically as well, maybe even this upcoming weekend, depending on when this video goes up, I may actually sprinkle in a few other videos in there, so there's always new content for you to peel your peepers on. That's really gross, I know, it's what we do here. Help yourself, by the way, to a brisk iced tea and some freshly made Rice Krispie Squares. That's also what we do on this channel on a regular basis. Lots of stuff coming your way, guys, lots of new videos coming your way. And yes, in fact, we will be looking at even more knockoff and bootleg statues and figures, because that's what apparently I'm doing now. I'm staying up late at night when I should be going to bed early, and I'm going on to places like Alexi Express, seeing what things they have to offer, and that so far has led me down a very deep, deep rabbit hole. Lots more videos like this will be coming your way. And as always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.